Hello and welcome to the Screen Chronicles. I'm Colby. With me as always is Steve, and today we are coming at you with something very exciting, something new coming out here at the end of October. We're going to talk about season 1, though, of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, if you've been following us since the beginning of our podcast, we would always say, we're going to get to The Mandalorian. But then we got to The Last Kingdom. And that's when we were very busy with The Last Kingdom. And we were very happy because we loved The Last Kingdom. We're going to start off here with a non-spoiler review, and then we're going to get into spoilers after that. And so just stick around. And if you've already seen the show, then fine, stick around for the whole thing. If you haven't, what are you doing? Get on it.
I would even say if you weren't even a big fan of the original Star Wars films or the newer Star Wars films or something, or if you're a fan of the original films and not of the new ones, then the show might be right up your alley. Because, I mean, it really kind of feels like an old school A New Hope through, Return of the Jedi kind of feel, I think.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And it definitely has that old classic Star Wars feel. It feels like someone who loved the original Star Wars trilogy.
Classic Star Wars feel, yeah.
Really wanted to sort of emulate that feeling. I thought they did very well, but I really do like, though, too, they do tie in the prequels. We'll talk about that more in the spoilers.
They do?
Yeah.
I would say
it's really well done, I thought.
They tie in the prequels. I think they even sort of tie in the animated shows to a degree.
Oh, yes.
And I think it has a lot of potential to tie into the final trilogy as well.
Yeah, I definitely think we're kind of hinting at
some things
are going with that.
But as far as how each episode feels, certainly to me, it feels like a better quality version of episodes 4, 5, and 6, I think. Or at least kind of in that more...
Oh, yes.
Film genre.
Definitely feels... And it feels more like a Western.
Yes.
As well to me. And I love Westerns.
Me too.
And I really like how they do it, though, with the Star Wars flavor. And obviously a lot of Star Wars, though, was inspired by Westerns and World War II movies and things like that. So it was really good. The general plot of the show, the Mandalorian, he's this bounty hunter. If you are a fan of the original series, Boba Fett, he was always this cool-looking character. I think he's a little overrated, to be honest, but it inspired a lot of people to be interested in who he was, what he did. And so Mandalorian sort of evolved around that, and it's this culture of warrior people. But in the show, there's not many of them, and he's taking on these bounty hunter jobs, and he starts out more as a guy who's just sort of cold, calculating, does the job, gets the money. And eventually along the way, though, he meets another target who he develops a bond for, and he changes his ways, sort of. And the rest of the show kind of revolves around that, kind of revolves around who the target is.
And I think we all changed our ways when we met the target.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all changed our ways.
Yeah, and it's really fun. I love the cinematography for it. It just, the lighting of it. When I'm just watching it, I'm just like, I love how shiny and real everything looks.
It looks really good. It looks really good.
Yeah.
It's like, I would say, while it does kind of feel like the cinematic style of 4 through 6, the costumes are fantastic. So the way everything looks, the planets look amazing. And they take a lot of time to focus on kind of insignificant shots, you know what I mean? To kind of build what that world looks like. And they might just show a group of people talking over here, might just show a group of people talking at the bar, to kind of just bring up those nostalgic Star Wars kind of feelings, I feel like, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It doesn't matter for the plot, seeing these extra shots, but for a Star Wars fan, it's just kind of cool to see, oh, that's a new creature I've never seen before. Or
it all feels organic, though. Nothing feels too out of place. And that's something with the sequel trilogy for me. I remember the big tentacle monster in The Force Awakens. When I first saw The Force Awakens, I loved it. But when there's that big tentacle monster that was going through that Han Solo was smuggling, and I was just like, God, it just doesn't feel Star Wars. Maybe it was just because it was
do you think it felt CGI. Pirates of the Caribbean?
What kind of Pirates of the Caribbean? Yeah, a little bit. But everything in here feels like Star Wars. It doesn't feel out of place. The look of it, even though the music isn't John Williams, it's more of like a Western style.
Yeah, I like how they have their own original score.
Yeah, there's even just get like a guitar every now and then, just sort of.
Dun-dun. It's awesome. It gets stuck in your head.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. But it's still, to me, like it still feels like Star Wars.
It still feels like Star Wars. Yeah, it feels like a Western, like a futuristic sci-fi Western mixed in with the classic John Williams.
Yeah,
music's great then too. The acting is on point.
For the most part, I would say, the acting's pretty, especially the main cast.
Yeah,
I think the acting is pretty good.
And I would say Mando, apparently too, there was 3 guys really playing Mando. There was Pedro Pascal.
Mm-hmm.
There was also 2 other guys who were more of like the stunt side of it, or even just the physicality. There was one guy who played more of like the Western side of it. He would sling out the guns. He'd move certain ways with that. He'd walk a certain way for Mando. And then there was another guy who was like this jujitsu martial arts, just overall stuntman guy who would do like the high physical stuff.
And we didn't learn this till after the show.
No.
So it's definitely not noticeable. Obviously they have the helmet and everything on, but at least how, I think we were talking to Yeppa one time about how like he feels when talking about stunt performers that you kind of have to match your physicality too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even if they can hide like the face. So I think they did a great job, and all 3 of these guys kept it like within a certain limit. They all kind of did things a little different, but overall it was the same character. I never felt like it was a different person playing him. I always thought it was the same guy. I always, thought it was Pedro Pascal the whole time, and I was really impressed. But, some of the things he does, it makes sense that they have some stunt performers. Not that Pedro Pascal's not good at that stuff, because, from what we saw in Game of Thrones, he's good at that stuff.
Yeah. I feel like you still get a lot through it though, too. When he's thinking about, maybe missing someone or maybe wondering if he's making the right decision, you can still tell, even though it's just him in a room. You're not even seeing like someone else react to him. You just know what he's thinking.
And you don't even see his face.
Goes to it too. You don't even see his face. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I think mystery is a big thing too.
Yeah,
leaving up like what he look. Obviously, we know it's Pedro Pascal under there, but just in general, just to have that on and just to wonder like what he looks like under it.
Mm-hmm.
I always found mystery kind of plays like a strong role in a viewer's mind. They can kind of leave it up to their own imagination and interpret it in their own way. But you're right. It was really an incredible job of Mando.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever was playing him, you love the character. I love the character. I think he's a badass yet really likable kind of character.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I really like just the writing behind it. Jon Favreau, he created it. If you know him from Iron Man, he directed Iron Man, and he worked on the live action Lion King, Jungle Book.
Yeah, the new Spider-Man movies he's in.
Yeah, he's in the MCU. Is happy.
He's happy.
The Bodyguard. And Dave Filoni, who worked on the Clone Wars, he's in this.
Yeah.
There's also.
I gotta say, after this, like I trust with Jon Favreau, his track record. I trust him with Star Wars right now. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, just keep doing it.
And he wrote most of the episodes too.
Yeah, and Dave Filoni too. I mostly have liked most of the things he's done. I still question some of the decisions in the last Clone Wars season, but I don't know how much of that was him or corporate telling him he needed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Some kind of, to me, garbage episodes.
Yeah,
I don't know, but there were some absolutely amazing Clone Wars moments that I know he was behind that were probably the best the show's ever seen.
Yeah, and he's a diehard Star Wars guy too, big friend and fan of George Lucas, and I think really understands George Lucas.
I think he's really good for Star Wars, and for the future of Star Wars. I really do. I think what's not good for the future of Star Wars is sort of those corporate, the higher ups trying to sell agendas through the movies and shows.
Yeah,
I think that's what kind of hurts the show sometimes. But
there's not really any of that in it, and I think that's why it's good. I think there's a lot of messages you can get out of this, but nothing feels jammed down your throat.
No.
I don't feel like there's any forced humor, which we saw in the news.
The only thing
series.
that's jammed down the throat, though, is the kind of anti-droid mentality that I don't like.
You don't subscribe to that?
I don't subscribe to that. Okay. They make it cool and
It's not cool, everyone, all right? You bigot.
Okay. Oh my droids are people too.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, if you can't tell, we really like the show. Colby, what would you give this show?
Oh, yeah.
Scale 0 to 10.
Oh, I would have to go with like a 9 out of 10.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
I'm going 9.5.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Oh, you gotta one up me. Why do you gotta one up me?
I love this season.
I did too. It was
I was never bored. I liked every episode. My one complaint was early on I felt like Mando was always getting help from people during his mission.
Yeah.
And then there's one episode where he just goes full Batman. And to me, I was like, all right, well, all my complaints are done. And
that's true. I remember us talking about that in the beginning, and you would, after the first few episodes, you were like, it's like he's not that good. Like he just gets help all the time. Like what the heck? And then that episode happened, and I remember you saying like, all right, no more of that.
I was like, all right, done.
I think those are fair scores for a really excellent season. Here's what it does, dude. It's finally something that I'm truly excited about for Star Wars.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, let's be honest. Like, the Clone Wars animated show is partially awesome, but it has some things. It's got its faults. The sequel trilogy I thought was going to be awesome, and ended up being a lot of disappointing things happening with it. I don't know many Star Wars fans that disagree with whether they're disappointed in The Force Awakens. Something I liked The Force Awakens and was disappointed in the other ones. But so far with Mandalorian, it's just been perfect. It has just been.
I don't think
as a Star Wars fan,
fan base is divided at all on it.
It doesn't seem so. It seems like everybody likes The Mandalorian. I haven't heard anybody that's not enjoyed The Mandalorian so far.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Generally, the prequels were divisive for fans. I think people love it more now because people like us grew up with it, and also I think just memes have just sort of made you appreciate more and things like that from it. And sequel trilogy, very divisive among fans. Obviously, we're on the end where we hate some of it, we like some of it. You and I, if you listen to our 3-hour talk on the sequel trilogy, which you should, because it's great.
It's like the best 3 hours of your life. I swear to God.
and this one though, everyone liked it. And so let's get into some spoilers here. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the show. And I know because we did talk to some people in Scandinavia, like Yepa, and they're only getting it episode by episode, like weekly release though still.
Yeah.
I guess probably we don't know, but probably the rationale behind that is so people don't cancel their subscription to the streaming service after binging it for a week or something.
Yeah, there's talk. I mean, I remember when it first came out, Disney was nervous that a lot of subscribers were just going to get it, and they had the free trial and everything that you could do. I think they were nervous that people were just going to get it and dump it because they didn't want anything else. But hey, Disney Plus is an excellent service. I think Disney Plus is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Pirates movies. I love the Narnia movies.
All the Marvel movies.
Star Wars, Marvel, except Spider-Man.
Except the Spider-Man, yeah.
Partially Sony.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on there. But most of it I own, though, or I've seen.
Yeah, as far as original, though, maybe not. Like, Mando is good. Some of the, like, Disney-specific shows, like Imagineering was actually a pretty fun watch, like, documentary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, if you like Disney World and seeing how it was developed and stuff.
Oh, cool.
It was actually a pretty fun watch. Anyway, though, Mandalorian, let's jump into some of these deets about this awesome show.
I have spoken.
So big one we have to get out of the way so we can just talk about it. Baby Yoda. All right?
Oh, okay.
The target is Baby Yoda that we were talking about.
But listen, he's not Baby Yoda. But we don't know for sure.
It's funny that no, he's definitely not Yoda, because this is set after the original trilogy.
Can we say definitely though?
I think we can.
I don't think
they would
he is. I don't think he is, but like there are theories still that he is some sort of
spawn of Yoda.
Well, Spawn, yeah, but there is
Like
a theory out there, probably one of the more far out ones, that he is actually like he is Yoda, like somehow not reincarnated, but like forced time traveled or something. I read about it. It's kind of a crazy theory. I don't think it's true, but
I hope not. I hope they don't bring him back like they did Sidious and just make you question, the original source. And I don't think Jon Favreau and Filoni would do that.
No.
I think if that would happen, that'd be a corporate thing, and I think that they would probably step away. From it. But so the first episode, I really liked the first episode. You start out, you see he's a pretty cool, awesome bounty hunter. He snags this guy.
It's taking place about 5 years after the fall of the Empire.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So like the
before the
original trilogies
of the First Order. Yeah, before the events of the First Order.
So he's bounty hunting, and it seems like we get really the impression too that it's this tough world, which I thought was cool. How and we don't hear about it till the end episode, but the Imperial guy, even though there's no Empire, there's still these bands of Imperial people.
I like this thread. Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. And that's what we were talking about earlier. I can see where they're gonna allude to the First Order happening, because they have these groups of Imperial guys that, now that the revolution has happened, the Empire is taken down. But you have to remember too, the Empire evolved from the Republic, which was the governing body of the whole galaxy. Right. So now the governance of the whole galaxy got tossed. And we've been hearing other episodes, Mando's like, the New Republic, that's a joke. You just see and it's tough for Mando even just making money off of these bounties now, because money's tight, the economy's screwed, stock markets are down. But eventually though, he goes to a planet, and we get some flashbacks. We eventually find out more about that, but he ends up going to this planet. He meets a great Ugnaught guy, Queel, and he eventually gets to the target that the Empire guy sent him, and it's Baby Yoda. And we had
child.
It's the child.
The child.
That's the name. But I think everyone, without even going onto the internet, I think everyone started calling it Baby Yoda. You and I,
easily.
You and I, after we watched it, we were like, "What did you think of Baby Yoda?" At the end, we had not been on social media or anything. I think it's funny how just everyone who watched it knew that that's what we were going to call it. you know?
I don't know if the show's creators realized how much of an impact Baby Yoda would have on the Star Wars community, and like everybody, people who don't watch Star Wars or even love Baby Yoda just because he's so freaking cute. Oh my God. I love him. He is cute. I want to get myself a Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And like a real one, take care of it and, feed it and
teach him not to choke people.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that was crazy. So there's this mysterious child at the end, and it's kind of interesting because Mando makes a choice at the end of this episode. He's there with another bounty droid played by one of our favorite guys, Taika Waititi. We really like his work as an actor and as a director. Mm-hmm. So Taika Waititi also, he voices IG-11. He's he's that bounty droid. He also directs, I think, the last 2 episodes of the show.
I think the last one.
Or
I think
just the last one?
So does this episode 7. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he does the last episode, which is a great episode too. To be honest, like I watched like the behind the scenes, the gallery thing they did. It seems like they were all just kind of there through the whole thing, helping each other.
It
never seemed like it was just like one person directing it,
mm-hmm.
and the other ones were gone somewhere. It seemed like they were all like team effort the whole time, which is just super cool. But yeah, basically we get an epic episode where like Mando, we get to see pretty much how awesome Mando is.
Mm-hmm.
And some things I like about the first episode. He chops a guy in half with a blast door. That's pretty awesome. But basically he picks up his first bounty, right? This guy, and he's kind of a comedy guy,
Mm-hmm.
He like goes down, I gotta use the bathroom, and he's going.
First guy ever to use the bathroom in Star Wars, or at least talk about it. You know?
Yeah, right.
I was like,
I know
there's a bathroom in Star Wars.
They address so many of these things that the fans talk about, like they addressed like the stormtroopers being bad at shooting later on, which was hilarious. So anyway, yeah, so the guy's kind of looking up for a way to escape somehow, and he comes across like this row of people frozen in carbonite.
Han Solo style.
Han Solo, well, right, like Han Solo style, frozen in carbonite, and all of a sudden, Mando appears out of nowhere because he's very sneaky.
Very sneaky.
And they, carbonite the dude, and then we get an awesome shot like of him unloading
the blue guy,
the carbonite. People frozen in carbonite because
he had racked up a lot of people in there too. Like he was hauling around a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think it's cool too because it was the first time it happened in Empire Strikes Back that they froze someone in carbonite.
Mm-hmm.
Boba Fett, and it just caught on. Everyone,
it's a trend.
The bounty hunters were like, "Oh, that seems like a good way to carry people."
And it looks
alive.
like they have a way more efficient way of doing it. You don't need a big, a huge chamber anymore.
Yeah,
it's
you
complicated.
have to dump them down in. Yeah,
it's just kind of like shove them in this little room and hit a button, and now it does it pretty. I mean, it looked like some quality carbonite. I could be wrong.
It looked like pretty high quality carbonite. I mean, how long would they last in there? I don't know. Han Solo was in there for like a year or something, or months.
Yeah, I mean, it's carbonite. It's that simple carbonite science.
But it was funny, and I really liked the shootout that they had at the end, and just hops on the turret and just mowing all the dudes down. Oh my god! I mean, when I was watching the first episode, I was like, "This is gonna be great," And
who were those people that were protecting Baby Yoda though? That's the question. Why did they have him? Why were they protecting him?
They've got to know, I guess, something about the Force, right? Because we know the Empire was after him, and this kid, he's 50 years old, so he hasn't been just, he's not just fresh out of the womb here. So someone's been watching him for this time.
Yeah, like so. Who are those people that Mando and IG-11 killed? Like were those like good guys? Like compared to if you like watch the other movie,
Mm-hmm.
Could they have been like people trying to protect him from the Empire? I mean, obviously they were trying to protect him from everybody, but were they trying to protect specifically from the Empire? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Because Quill does say that they're mercenaries that are bringing destruction to the valley or something. But he also says because mercenaries keep coming to fight them, that there's chaos.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, too, Quill. I love Quill. And I think, too, one of the things that makes Star Wars great is all the quotable lines.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of quotable lines. I love the Mandalorian culture where they just say, "This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way."
And that's
awesome.
There's more to it when they say it.
So simple, though.
And it's so simple, and everyone knows what it means when they say it, when they're all around each other. And it's so freaking cool. And I smile every time I hear it. Because I'm just like, man, that's so fucking awesome.
It seems simple, but it's complex. There's a lot of complex things. Like in episode 2, I think it's episode 2 or maybe a later one when he's getting armor, the Beskar armor made.
I think the third one, yeah.
Oh, it's in the third one, but it's because
the Mudhorn.
The Mudhorn and Baby Yoda had done it and not him, and he had to tell them like, "Look, I got help with this. I don't deserve this."
Yeah, to be.
And then they were all like,
or his crest.
Yeah, the emblem, the insignia, and they're like, "Okay. This is the way," and
and they were like fighting each other, and the armor lady, who also seems like maybe she's like the leader of their tribe.
Yeah,
she just says, "This is the way," and they're just all echo, "This is the way.
This is the way." It's awesome. Oh man, it was so cool. Anyway, back to like earlier on though.
Yeah, back to Quill.
To Quill,
he's funny. He say when he's just like when he's done talking, he says, "I have spoken.
I have spoken."
And that pretty much means don't ask me more about this. Like what you got, what I gave you is what you get. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
I need to start using that on Tay here. I've spoken.
We're going to Moe's. I have spoken.
Yes. That's the context I would use it in.
One of my favorite scenes from the first episode, Mando goes to meet Apollo Creed.
I love him in this too. I love
he's awesome. He's
Carl Weathers.
Apollo
Creed, and then he was also
he plays
in Predator.
Krieg. What's his name? Krieg.
Grief Karga.
Yeah, Kreef Karga. He's like the head of the guild, and the guild is like this association of like bounty hunters, which is pretty cool. They have their own code too.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet. And he gives him like this exclusive thing, and it's secretive. It's like there's no puck.
Mm-hmm.
There's not even a full chain code, which is, I guess, like the identification system of the time. He goes to this like kind of, it's just this building, and one of the droids, like that's like the eyeball that comes out, looks at him like back in episode 6. It's kind of cool.
Banky.
Yeah.
Banky.
Yeah, that's it. And the door opens and he goes in, and just a shot of the stormtroopers. And this guy wearing like some like regal imperial insignia. It's Werner Herzog.
Yeah, he's looks like an officer for.
Yeah, he looks like he was like an officer, and these guys are still loyal to him, these stormtroopers, but they look kind of ragged, kind of like they're in hiding. It just like reminded me of like Nazis hiding out in some country.
Yes,
still clinging to ideals, you know. And
I really like this thread because it's just like I really love the ending for Return of the Jedi, Episode 6 from the original trilogy, and I honestly really love the remastered version of it. I think it's more emotional and epic and awesome, and gives like a galaxy sort of conclusion. But it does make you, when I watched that, I was like, oh, the Empire, they're gone, they're done. Eventually, though, when we do see the sequels, we see there's the First Order. So, like, it was really cool then to see, like, you can't just get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some people there. You know, there's some stormtroopers working around.
Yeah, and people are still going to believe in their cause, what they were doing. So I would like to jump ahead right here, though, into something that happens a little bit later on.
Yeah.
When Mando goes to see Werner Herzog again at the end of the season.
By the way, he's great.
Werner
Herzog? Oh, my God.
Yeah, and apparently he's behind why they used a puppet for Baby Yoda.
I thought I heard that, too.
Yeah, like they were considering using like CGI and digital effects to create Baby Yoda. And listen, I saw some of the plans for Baby Yoda, like some of the other sketches for it. Is like some of them are creepy looking. They definitely went the right way. He said like we should use a puppet, you know?
Yeah,
and they did. And oh man,
I think that's why people get attached to it more, is because it's clearly a physical thing most of the time. By the way,
I think when I was mentioning earlier, they were like underprepared because, or I don't think they were ready for Baby Yoda to take off like he did. Because there was zero Baby Yoda merch ready when the show came out, and they would have made so much money had they just had like some Baby Yoda dolls ready to sell.
I'm glad the studio was willing to keep that under wrap.
Yeah,
for the sake of the show and the story.
Totally.
Because I think Yepa, who's a big Star Wars fan, who we talked to, because he's in Scandinavia.
That's a good.
They don't have it yet. He didn't even know about it when we were talking. He's like, I've heard some things or something.
Well, he had seen Baby Yoda.
Yeah, but I don't think he knew
who he was and stuff.
Yeah, and anything more about it.
He's not Baby Yoda. We're spreading false information.
That's what we're going to call him. It's the child. We're going to call him Baby Yoda, people.
Mando comes back later in the season, and they're having a discussion, and Herzog kind of goes on the spiel about like, I don't understand people. Like all the Empire was doing was creating infrastructure in the universe and creating stability. And people don't want that. Like he's like, I don't get it. Why don't people want that? So we're just kind of seeing his own perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though like, you know, did the ends justify the means, you know, as far as what the Empire was doing, like destroying planets and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think someone raises the question is like, okay, but is all that worth your freedom?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So it just kind of poses an interesting debate.
Yeah. And I think they give the other side to it like almost immediately afterwards, because we're talking about, was that 7? It was episode 7, yes.
Was that in episode 7? Yeah.
Yeah. And when they go back to the client, the Imperial Werner Herzog, and you start to sympathize when he says that. You're just like, oh, yeah, the Empire, man, maybe they are good.
Yeah.
But then almost immediately afterwards, he gets a call. Turns out it's his buddy Moff Gideon, and he just mows him down and everyone else because he's just trying to get the Mando. And that's the mentality of like the Empire the whole time. That's the Empire. Sidious, Palpatine, Darth Vader, everyone who was working in the Empire, they were, you know, even Vader was killing his own dudes. You know, if they just couldn't keep up with Han Solo, man, you know, he did the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Then you go like, oh, well, damn, like, they're not perfect, because this is the Empire right here. When they want something, they'll even kill their own people.
Exactly. But it's just an interesting thread, and I just like to hear that, like, the Empire didn't just go away. Okay. They still are trying to find a way back. They're still clinging to these ideals, 5 years after the fall of it, because they truly believed in what they were doing when they were doing it, even though they were blowing planets up and killing a lot of people. Yeah. So I love the accounts. Empire did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Father just wanted his son to join the family business. Son blows up family business or something. So another interesting thread and how they tie the Mandalorian into the prequel trilogies is kind of Mando's objection to droids. And so at the very beginning, we see like a transport comes for the Mandalorian, and there's just a some kind of R2 unit, or maybe it was an R4 unit in the front of this speeder. He's like, no droids. And like the guy looks at him funny. Then when they're making his armor, and every time they're like forging a new thing out of Beskar for him,
like the anvils coming down,
sparks fly, and we get a flashback of him as a kid and his family like running with him.
And there's just blaster fire.
And there's blaster, and we find out that those were super battle droids that were just mowing his village down or something.
During the Clone Wars, man.
During the Clone Wars. So we get a little droid action, and that's why he hates droids. And we see him take out some droids like crazy later on.
Yeah, that was I really liked that, because it really tied in the prequels, and it really showed how Palpatine's fake war to become the leader of the galaxy. It had all these effects on little people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really just helped build the world.
Yeah.
As far as like the implications of the war and everything like that, and which the Clone Wars show, I think does pretty well. But it's really cool. Just it's not a major part of this show about the Clone Wars and things like that, but to have it impact a character like that, it just makes it feel like it was like a real historical event, Totally. And then we also get to see Death Watch, who we saw in the Clone Wars show, the group of Mandalorians from Mandalore, the home planet, and they rescued him as a kid, and that's how he got into the Mandalorians, which is pretty sweet
cool.
too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's cool to see that context, and how that like influences him later on in the show.
Yeah.
And
One
also,
thing I want to talk about while we're talking about Death Watch here, is we see Mandalorians on Mandalore take off their helmets all the time.
Yeah,
all
this
the time.
Is an interesting thing.
And they're true Mandalorians, because other people said, well, Boba Fett and Jango Fett, they weren't Mandalorians. Boba Fett was a clone, and he just like picked up the reins after his dad died and became a bounty hunter. He wasn't necessarily a Mandalorian, is what people think. Jango apparently might have been a Mandalorian, but then left.
Yeah.
But
and he took his helmet off.
So it's like, all right, well, that's why it's okay for him to take his helmet off. But
yeah, because he defected.
But we see in the Clone Wars, which is canon, that the Mandalorians from Mandalore take their helmets off like all the time.
Oh yeah.
And they're CG characters, so like it's not even like they need to show their face, for the actor to be underneath or anything. So I almost wonder if this is like a new sect.
Yeah, a new tribe or something.
Or because we do hear there's a purge of them from Mandalore.
Change things.
And maybe that there's different cultures of the Mandalorians. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one thing I was just like,
maybe that'll get explained in season 2.
And I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and I played Knights of the Old Republic 2 way back in the day. Great game. And only Mandalore himself, the leader of the Mandalorians, would be the only one who never took off his helmet. I don't think he would ever take off his whole armor suit. I was just kind of like, well, that kind of makes physical intimacy impossible,
Yeah, well, just like here on Earth, like we have different cultures and things. Could be on Mandalore.
Yeah,
there are different cultures. Maybe that's
and now
it.
that they're not all on Mandalore,
but like you said, it was Death Watch that adopted him, so it's kind of like, well.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did doesn't line up exactly. Maybe that'll be explained a little bit more. One thing too, talking about never taking the helmet off, that kind of bothered me a little bit. Not much bothered me about this.
Yeah.
is they have the episode called The Sanctuary where he goes and it's a peaceful village. It's being attacked. And
I love that episode.
it's a great episode. And the kids are playing with Baby Yoda and he's like very protective of, of the child. And there's this woman, this beautiful woman who seems like has a strong connection with Mando. And she's just asking about the helmet. She's like, why don't you take it off? And he said, I haven't taken it off since I was about their age. It's part of our culture, yada, yada, yada. She walks out of the room. He's standing by this huge window and he takes the helmet off and watches the kids while he's like eating. And I'm just thinking like it's not like a one-way mirror or something. Like it's like an empty space.
Or he's like high up. Like he's not like on the third floor of an apartment, like looking
where you
down.
Can't see clearly.
Yeah.
Like those people are 20 feet away playing and he took his helmet off to eat. And I was like, no one's going to look to the left. It just, oh, that's what he looks like.
Oh, there he is right there.
Oh, that's him. That's him, right?
No one has seen my face.
Or like, it's like, who's that dude? I don't recognize that dude. I've lived in this village for my whole life. I don't recognize that dude.
There's only like 10 people here.
Yeah.
I know all the people here.
So that was one thing that kind of like, I was just like, what?
I think
we get
Hishi's How It Should Have Ended, I think, touched on that though too.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I was thinking the same thing. I was like, they're all right there. They're all right there.
Like it was weird, but still a great episode.
Well, also
anyway,
going along with the helmet though, what did the females in your life think when he took off the helmet?
I don't know if any of the females in my life watched The Mandalorian.
Really, Ani?
No, she hasn't seen it.
Well, for me, maybe you could just speak to what you thought then. I thought he looked kind of like shit, but I was like, all right, well, he was in, he just wasn't an explosion when they take his helmet off.
Yeah.
And he's bleeding.
Sorry, he didn't have time to clean his face off, Steve.
But like, it's just like all of his hair is like long and like greased to his head and stuff too. I guess in my head, I was just picturing like a guy with like a clean cut hair and stuff. But anyway, my when I was watching this, both my mom and my girlfriend, they were separate from each other when I watched the finale twice. I watched it 3 times now, but they both thought they when it came off, they both just went like this. That's disappointing.
Oh, they thought he was going to be the super attractive.
Yeah, they thought he was going to look more attractive.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. I thought it was cool when he took his helmet off. I thought it was cool. Apparently, I just read something that he that day like cut his face or something across his nose.
I was watching like the thing on Disney Plus. What it's like behind the scenes Mandalorian there was a really awesome Dave Filoni section too when he goes and he talks about from the prequels, and how like the Duel of the Fates connects to the end, and I almost cried after he talked about this, and I was just like, this guy.
We care too much about this, maybe.
Oh, he's awesome. After that, I'm just like, I can't say anything bad about him.
Oh, yeah.
You have to watch. I think it was the third one or something, or maybe the second one.
Is this the gallery thing?
Yeah, the gallery. That's it.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah,
it's the very last discussion they had, on that episode. I think it's the second one, and everyone's just like, well, I don't know what to say after that because it was freaking awesome. Anyway. I did see this, though, too, from the gallery. And what you're about to say, I think. It is true. Pedro Pascal, he talked about it. The day that he was to do that scene where he's bloody, he got out of the makeup department and he walks around and hits, like, a building or something in his face.
Just a skyscraper.
And like,
oh!
It just came out of nowhere. And then he's bleeding so bad that he had to get 7 stitches. They had to take him to the ER. But it's funny because Gina Carano, the woman who plays Cara Dune,
who's awesome,
saw him when he was like, I think like entering the makeup, and then when he was coming out a second time, because after he hit his head, he came back into makeup to like try and stop the bleeding. But she saw him like before he went in, and then after his accident, where they had done the blood makeup, but also he went and just fucked up his face. And so she was like, oh man, they really did a number on him in there.
Yeah.
Maybe he had to get 7 stitches.
It's like, what good is this helmet for? This Beskar helmet, like, what good is it for?
Well, he didn't have the helmet on because it was for that scene where he
I know, but when the explosion happened and like
I thought
he
that
did,
was cool though,
it's like,
because
it is cool.
I was like, all right, this is blaster proof, man. Like all the sensitive parts, like you could hit him in the arm, but like you can come back from hitting the arm, I guess. You know, we've seen that. But like his chest, his head, he literally Moff Gideon shoots him in the head before he gets blown up, and he dings himself, and he just keeps shooting that heavy blaster.
That was awesome. That thing, dude.
And then, so I thought
it
it was really
reminded
cool
me
that,
of
like the explosion was able to injure him because, like, I guess just the forces that go through his vulnerable parts, you know, and it would make sense, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. He's got a weakness.
Oh, that's cool. I like how Mando has a lot of weaknesses, and like you said, he needs help sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, he's not perfect. He can't do it all on his own. Sometimes he needs a little baby, 50-year-old baby to like pick up this giant mudhorn and kill it, you know, for him. But whatever. No, but can we talk a second about the Jawas scene?
Yes,
because
I loved this. I was loving this.
So we got this pulse blaster that he's got, which is like a nod, I guess, back to the old cartoon with Boba Fett, where he's like he has one of those too, and it can also like disintegrate things. And Mando goes and gets the child, and he's walking through these trenches. He fights off some creatures out there as well, which was pretty cool. And then
like other bounty hunters that
were going after. It's like so many people have gotten the signal.
Yeah, and that's really the big thing for this season too, is why they have to keep going from place to place. Yeah. They all have the same fob that he was given to track the child.
But yeah, again, earlier when we were talking, that's an interesting thing. Mando made that decision very early because IG-11 was going to kill the child, and Mando, like, although somebody wanted it back, the people that he had given him the fob had said, you know, if you have to kill him, that's fine too. You know, we'll take that. But something in Mando, he killed IG-11 if you can kill a droid, you know. And he took the child to, like, on his own, and he was still going to deliver it, but he didn't want to kill it. You know what I mean? So there's a little something there, and that relationship kind of grows. But anyway, they're walking, and he goes back to his ship, and he sees it's just being, you know,
ransacked by Jawas.
Just ransacked by Jawas. They've taken it. There's holes in the ship.
Stripped the parts.
Just stripped. And so he just like snipes up.
He doesn't even like go like, hey, stop. Like, I hate it in shows where people like who are capable of like killing things, like when like someone just starts stealing their stuff, then all of a sudden all their skills go away. They're just like, oh no, it's all gone. You know, he just lays down, lines up, bam,
and like they don't just get shot and fall over; they explode,
disintegrate.
They disintegrate, and he just is picking them off. He's just picking them off, and Baby Yoda's like, Baby Yoda's loving it. It became probably the most popular meme for that week. Yeah. It was hilarious. But yeah, he's just picking him off.
I love that scene in too when he chases after him and he's climbing up that.
So they ditch
the sand crawler.
Yeah,
that was so cool.
They're throwing stuff at him that he's like climbing up it, and he gets to the top and they've got like 20 guns pointed at him, and they zap him.
Yeah,
you know, he has to go back to Queel and stuff, and
they eventually go to like negotiate then for his ship. And I love the scene where he's like, those are my parts, and he's like talking to them, and he tries to speak Jawa to them, and he's like, and they're like, oh, you sound like a Wookiee. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he just like flame throws.
He's not too good at negotiating, but he does get a plan. They want this egg. They want this like
a furry egg.
This furry egg, which I learned in Rick and Morty. You shouldn't touch wet furry eggs.
Oh.
Yeah. In Rick and Morty, they teach you that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So you should watch Rick and Morty. It's in like a mudhorn cave. This is a mudhorn egg, right?
Yeah.
And he's taking it and he's got to fight this thing. Oh my God.
Giant mudhorn. It looked like the same creature that was in Attack of the Clones that was coming after Anakin, that bull thing. But
Yeah,
it didn't have
cool.
the side horns, and it looked so real too. It looked like it was like the texture, the mud, and everything, and
it looked so real. So real.
So good looking.
He's coming charging at him, and Mando doesn't back down. I think Mando knows it's gonna be tough. He tries the flamethrower. He tries the his like grappling line, and tries everything. At the end of the day, it's Baby Yoda, the child, who kind of demonstrates his force powers for the first time. He tried to earlier, by the way, when after the fight with the bounty hunters, he tried to heal Mando, who had like a wound on his arm, and Mando is like, "What the heck are you doing, dude?"
He just picks him up.
It seems like Mando doesn't have much knowledge of like the Jedi and the Force.
It seems like no one does.
It's just a weird thing.
Yeah, and if you remember, I think that they do that because if you remember in the original series or the original trilogy, Han Solo, he didn't seem knowledgeable. He was disbelieving in the Force. When Obi-Wan was talking about it. I think it's a little odd though that like no one remembers the Jedi because they were so involved in the politics, and like everywhere during the Clone Wars. Like, how did people not know?
I know
about
and
them?
how are those? It wasn't that long ago that the legends would have gone away.
Like Han Solo was like a teenager when the Jedi were still around. From
maybe there's something with like Empire propaganda or something.
Maybe. Yeah.
They're
fake news, Jedi, fake news.
Yeah, but sort of at the end of the season, not to jump too far ahead, but they basically say the setup of next season is going to be for Mando to try to find the child's home or his people to like reunite them. And it's a group of Force users. We don't know if they're Jedi. We don't know exactly what they are or if it's just his species or what. We'll find out hopefully in season 2.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So where were we? We were talking about.
He was just pretty astounded though when he saw the Mudhorn.
Right.
Let's talk about though this Mudhorn that was like flame resistant. I don't know if he shot it. I think he tried to shoot it and it deflected.
He also like stabbed it, I think, with some kind of knife.
Yeah, but he kills it though by stabbing it with like a knife that's like this big. Like this big. Like, and like its neck is like wider than like my torso, Yeah. It's like, how did that kill it? That's what I like. As soon as I saw it, he just goes, with this little butter knife. And
maybe
it just
Baby Yoda might have thrown something in there with that Force, man.
Maybe.
But anyway, Baby Yoda takes a nap for about another episode. For the rest of this episode and like the next one, like he just goes to sleep. So it shows that like, yes, he has some kind of incredible Force ability, but it takes like everything he's got to use it.
Yeah, they give the furry egg then to the Jawas, and they just want
a breakfast. They just want a breakfast really bad.
This is the best breakfast, man.
Oh my god.
And then next episode, really awesome one where they go where he gives the kid up to the Imperials, gets this giant tin of Beskar, which we saw in the first episode, like gave him this like bulletproof shoulder, and now he's like, so goes and he makes his whole armor from it.
Yeah. So Beskar, by the way,
did he look when he?
Oh my god!
How much did you want his?
It was pretty much wearing like a new Adidas tracksuit. Like he looked so good. No, he did. His costume is amazing. I love the look. By the way, Beskar is a super resistant steel that's only found on Mandalorian in one of its moons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, episode 3 really kind of shows Mando's like debate of how much does he really care about this child. Because I think before that we'd seen the child wanted to play with like some of the things on the ship a little bit.
He takes off like the
little ball,
like the ball and the throttle or something.
Yeah.
And then that's what I mean. That's what I mean when you can tell what Mando is thinking. You can't see his face. There's no one else there around there saying, "Oh, is this what you're feeling?"
Yeah.
Like you see him go to reach for the throttle and he just stops. And you're just like you instantly know what he's thinking. And that he had like a sentimental attachment to the kid and that memory.
And because when he went back to when he gave up the child to, he did his job. He brought the target back, and Werner Herzog is like, "Thanks so much. Oh my God, this is great." No, but then the Mandalorian is like, what are you going to do with it? And Werner Herzog instantly turns a switch like, that is very unprofessional of you to ask. Like, that is against the guild code to ask what it's for. And things kind of get really tense. And Mando decides he's just going to leave, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And later we find when he goes back and fights off all those dudes. By the way, we get a little nod. There's an interrogation droid, one of the floating balls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is kind of a, you know, another nod back. And he fights his way through. It's amazing again. And
it made the stormtroopers, though, they felt like a threat, though, in there. You know what I mean? Like, even though he's bulletproof at this point, like, he was still having to hide from them. He still don't want to get discovered, and he still surrendered when they would surround him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I was like, that's pretty cool.
Something weird's happening with the child, and this guy who earlier with Werner Herzog did not want the child dead. He's like, I want him alive, you know. The theory is that this guy, he's wearing a Camino badge, which is the cloning planet.
Oh.
So the theory is that he's some sort of cloner, and it's on a machine that could be a cloning machine. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a weird thing that they're doing on Baby Yoda. So there's all sorts of theories surrounding what this could actually be. Are they trying to clone him? Is Baby Yoda a clone? Are they trying to
Yoda?
Well, we don't know. Are they trying to extract some kind of thing? Now, here's an interesting theory. Is the Empire trying, or this may be what's going to be the First Order, trying to extract something that could, some kind of force ability that could bring Emperor Palpatine back to life, or help him transition back to the world of living, sort of. That's a theory.
I can see it making sense. I hope they don't do it, because I kind of want to forget about the sequels.
I know.
I kind of want. So I hope that's.
It would kind of make sense, though.
It would make sense, yeah.
If that's
and it would make
so
sense why
desirable.
he's so powerful in that final episode.
Yeah. So anyway, Mando takes him.
It's a great shootout with them.
Oh, yeah.
And then, too, when he gets into town, all the bounty hunters who have the fobs, because once he takes them out of the building, all their fobs start lighting off again. And they're just like, all right, let's go get him. And it's this whole town on their planet is all bounty hunters, you know. And it was a really cool scene. And again, he like fake surrenders. And I love how he like threatened the droid. He's like, drive!
It was a great scene. And he gets helped again.
Disintegrating people, you know. Oh my God, that was awesome.
It's so amazing. And then the Mandalorians come, dude. Full jetpack on, and they help him out.
Mm-hmm.
This like underground world of the Mandalorians, like this community. They come out and finally got to see some like full-on action.
Yeah, full jetpack Mandalorian action.
Oh, so cool.
And it was him after they left, after like he was leaving too. He said like when one of the other jetpack Mandalorians were like flying by his ship, he's like, "Oh, I gotta get me one of those." I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
So he's gonna get
one sometime.
And he has been like getting upgrades. Like he got the shoulder.
Yeah, I love that. It's like showing how his character grows. Like also his armor grows too.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a video game. Like when you like God of War, when you go to the armor and they're like, "Oh, like you get your axe upgraded," or like Fallen Order, you know.
You did good on this mission. You got enough points now. You can upgrade your armor, you know.
And he does eventually get the jetpack at the end. Yeah, so I wonder, because we saw it in the new trailer for season 2. I hope we could see him use it more.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Season.
That's awesome. So
but he looks sweet without it though, but with just the cape and stuff.
Yeah, and then he does look cool without it. I do like him without it too. But it's cool to see his character grow. I love at the end he takes the little ball off and gives it to Baby Yoda, where that used to be a nuisance to him, you know?
Yeah.
And now he's like, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so next episode then he's like, well, I'll hide out. And that's when they go to that forest planet.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. And we get to see Cara Dune, Gina Carano, who was a real UFC fighter. She really brought like the physicality to it and everything.
Totally.
They had a great fight. And I thought for me, this was like the best cute Baby Yoda scene is after they fight. And Baby Yoda's just standing there like
drinking his whatever it is.
His tea or whatever. Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
Hey.
Just this 50-year-old baby. It's funny. He's 50 years old, people. Species age differently, so we can't judge. But my thing is, Mando, you're doing so much to protect this little guy. And I love how he tells him to stay on the ship, right? This is a great Baby Yoda episode all around.
Yeah,
it really is. And he's like, you stay here, you stay on the ship, stay. And the door goes up and Baby Yoda's just like right next to him and just follows him out. He's like, fine. And we get some like great scenes like Baby Yoda's like exploring the world, and like there's this like sort of cat-like creature that like tries to bite him, and he's like, ooh. Scary. It's so
too,
cute.
Once they get to the village, and he we saw him eat that frog in one of the previous episodes, and then this one he starts
just
eating
downs
one,
it.
And they all like start like ew, and he feels bad in front of them.
And he like spits it out. It's so funny, dude. And it's just so cute to see him like chase frogs and to see him get scared by like that cat thing and like keep walking. But Mando, why you leave him in a restaurant? Like you're doing so much to protect him and stuff. And but it's pretty cool when Mando does, and he tells like the waitress to like, watch my little green thing over there.
Watch my baby.
And he goes out and Mando would be a terrible dad. I'm sorry. Terrible.
He does his best.
He does his best. And he like puts on his predator vision to see like the heat, like the footsteps, footprints. And then basically sees where they end. And that's when Cara, like, they have this cool fight and kind of ends in a standoff. She's tough. She is tough.
He gets hired by the people on that planet to defend the village from like the raiders.
Yeah. Who look like giant dogs.
Yeah, they look like dogs. And I really like too just a planet. It was like this water grass planet, like farm area too, that they were in. A
simple farming village.
I really like too just them being like these moats when they were like fighting the Walker and the army of raiders and stuff.
I like how they were like using the landscape to their advantage. Like obviously we're not going to be strong enough just to fight them off, So we need to have a plan. It took a little convincing, and like when they saw the Walker, they came back and were telling the village people, like, well, we can't fight this. You guys crazy? And the village people were like, we're not leaving. So we're gonna have to figure it out. And they do. And Mando is like, all right, let's train them. Get a kind of training montage, which was kind of cool.
Montage.
I was thinking like, what the heck are they going to do with those sticks?
They killed the guy, the head guy with a stick.
They did. It was funny.
That'd be a terrible way to go.
Yeah. So this is where like Cara like really kind of comes in and saves the day in this one.
Yeah. She
takes the pulse blaster and shoots like the eye of the Walker. And it's pretty awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, she used to be in a rebel too, which was cool. She was like a drop trooper.
She was like an elite class of rebel fighters.
Yeah, it was
she has like a rebel tattoo on her face.
And on her arm, on her arms.
Yeah.
That was a cool one. And eventually, though, the reason they have to keep going is because the fob is still active. And one of the bounty hunters tries to snipe Baby Yoda.
Oh,
who would snipe a baby?
This was intense, dude.
Who would snipe a baby?
And the way they filmed it is like they see the guy lining up the shot, and you hear the gun, and you see Mando like react, and they show that it was Cara who shot the
bounty hunter. So they have to keep going.
But it's crazy ending. Cool. Crazy ending.
I enjoyed the next one too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it more the second time I watched it because again, to me, it felt like he. I was waiting to see Mando be completely capable, and like I said, it wasn't until the sixth episode where he fights off all the other bounty hunters as Batman. But this one, it was cool. It was written by Dave Filoni and directed by him, and it really felt like a Western. Like it felt like so much like an Unforgiven meets Star Wars sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it more this second time.
I think I did too.
Because first time I watched it, I was like, this is probably my least favorite.
I thought, yeah.
And I would still probably rank it as my least favorite, but I still really enjoyed it.
Difference is that even though it's a least favorite, it's still a really good episode.
Yeah.
I liked Mando using the speeder tactic. Like they have the sniper, they can't go across this desert, and they're using the flashes to set off her scope so she can't see.
Yeah.
And it would have worked, but you see like the guy he's with, I think it was Toro Caracan or something.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, was sitting in the same seat Han Solo was in on Mos Eisley at the cantina. This is on
Tatooine.
Tatooine. So there's this like wannabe guild member who's like getting Mando's help, saying like, I'll give you all the money and stuff if you help me do this. So he's helping him, and the guy, like, he's supposed to set off the flash, but he like points it to the side so it doesn't do anything to the scope, so the sniper's able to just snipe Mando. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if the guy had like pointed it right and had hit the flash right, like, I think the plan probably would have worked.
Yeah. It was really cool because I guess that kid sort of represented like a young Mando or even like a young Han Solo, like how you were saying he's in the same seat. But he just sort of took the wrong path. You know what I mean? At the end, he ends up deciding to betray Mando. They catch the assassin woman, and he hears that, oh, Mando, he's a bigger prize. Maybe I'll go after him.
Yeah.
You know, but Mando's been the guy calling the shots. The only reason you caught that chick is because Mando, you know, he got you past the sand people. He got you across the dune. You know, like you wouldn't have got anywhere.
Yeah.
And he tries to betray him.
Oh, yeah.
And I love just like the final, like he lines, like after they set off that last flare and he sneaks around to the side and Baby Yoda got away. And that guy is just standing there, and like he just sees Mando standing there, and it's like so quick, but like you can just see on both their faces, like, you're dead. Like, you're dead, dude. Bam. And it's just done. And that's what I love about Mando too. Like, he's not like ooh, I'll redeem you, I'll let you go. Like, he John Wicks people, you know.
John Wicks people.
He finishes the job.
But he is like Batman to a degree, like when he does that flash at the end and disappears for a second and then comes back from the side. Was pretty awesome. And in episode 6, he's a lot like Batman too.
Yeah. And so this one was actually, as far as like the more episodic ones, which I really like too, how this show is episodic. And I think some people complained about that. But I really liked that it had that episodic feel, because every episode you felt like you got a full story. And I think that's why I was never bored with it, because there was always something important that was going to happen in that episode. And you still had the child and the Bounty Hunters Guild mission driving it towards the end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But this one, to me, though, is probably my favorite, like, episodic one, because I think you could count the first one and the third one, and then the last two as like the main story, where Mando is dealing with the child and the Empire and that sort of thing. But this one, to me, like we said, sealed the deal for me that Mando is a capable dude. Because the other ones, like I said, like he got help with the Mudhorn. Yeah. He had IG help him when he first rescued the child at the very first episode. Third one, he had Cara Dune, or not the third one, the fourth one. The third one, he had the Mandalorians drop in to save him. Yeah, even though that was awesome. And the last one, he had that girl set off the flash for him so he could kill the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was just like I'm ready to see Mando do 100% of the work, and this one he does 110% of the work.
Yeah, he does.
Because this whole crew of bounty hunters, which were awesome.
Led by Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Bill Burr was just himself in this.
Yeah.
They were like, go be yourself in Star Wars.
Yeah. And, I liked his backpack gun. I thought it was pretty cool.
That was cool. Like,
pretty
it's
cool.
just an arm.
Yeah.
Comes up.
Yeah.
And I love to when they meet him. And he's like, oh, he's a sharpshooter for the Empire. Like the head guy of this group of bounty hunters or mercenaries says. And Mando's just like, that doesn't say anything. You know?
Yeah.
And Bill Burr just responds like, I wasn't a stormtrooper, you wise ass.
Yeah.
I was like, it just feels like that's him.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so funny.
And then when he's like picking on Mando in the ship, he's like, has anyone seen your face, buddy?
Yeah.
Like,
it's
like,
Bill Burr.
What are you, a Gungan under there?
Yeah, you're a Gungan. Yeah, that's right. Is that why you don't want to show us your face?
Misa don't want to show my face.
And then they have like this giant dude too that like he's like, hey, take his helmet off, let's see it. And Mando's, you know,
he just
shows him
up.
what's up.
Yeah, even though he's like this, that's what I like too about Mando. He's not the biggest dude in the room. You don't really get the impression that he's like the most athletic or anything like that. But he's just like
He's a professional dude.
He's got gumption, you know. I mean, like, he's just a hard dude. He's a hard dude.
Don't mess with him. He doesn't care who you are.
And I think we talked. You were just talking to me too. Like, I really love this episode. They break in to this New Republic ship. They free a guy, and they end up double crossing Mando. And I was just like, crap! Like, that's what you get for like going with them. But then it's awesome because then he breaks out, and I thought like as he was going, he was killing each one of them, which I kind of wish he did, but I'm kind of glad though he didn't, because then we can still have all those characters. Yeah, you know, he could have killed them. He could have killed all of them. And eventually, he locked him up. The prisoner that they sent to rescue, it seems like he convinces him to drop him back off. You know, with the main guy who was obviously in on betraying Mando and taking his ship.
Right.
They drop him off there, and they had this one point where they came across this New Republic soldier who I guess did the voice for Anakin in the Clone Wars series. And he had this homing beacon for, like, if you set it off, New Republic X-Wing show up and just bomb whatever's there.
Like, what?
Better use that then for whenever I need it. And
so if I'm the Empire and I'm trying to like make a comeback, I'm just getting some of these homing beacons. I'm going to steal a bunch of those. I'm going to put them on. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a funny thing.
But it was cool though,
like
because he like just drops it off with them at the end and just So he just kills all the dudes that were bothering him. He locks up all the other ones, and I was just like, yes. I was like, all right, no more complaining. You know.
Yep.
Because I was complaining to you every week. I was like, he got saved again.
He
got saved again. Like, he seems like a capable guy, but he got saved again.
He goes Batman in this one, dude. You get locked up, you know, the homing beacon's gone. They have a limited time to get out of the ship, and he like takes a droid's arm, unlocks it, and starts closing blast doors. And just these one-on-one fights. And I love the moment where he's fighting the big dude, and he like dropped the door of the big dude, and you're like, okay. Because the big dude's tough. It's a tough guy to beat. The flamethrower, which by the way is an anti-Jedi weapon because lightsabers can't deflect flame. He drops the blast door on him, and the guy just squatting it, just squatting it. It was awesome. You're getting like intimidated. Like, whoa, look, what's he gonna do?
Yeah,
and Mando just like nonchalant closes like a side blast door,
just right in front. He's just like, oh.
It happened so fast and so abrupt.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
But then when like it's time for like Bill Burr's.
Mm-hmm. Bill Burr's come up.
Just like it's just an on and off flash, you know, because the alarm system's going off, and it's so Batman. Mm-hmm. Like one flash goes, Mando's way in the back. You see him, comes back on. No, I'm not there. And every time he gets closer until he's right there, and then he's behind him.
Yeah, well, then he turns around and you think he's going to see him, but then he's behind him again.
Then he's behind him again.
And Bill just turns and he's like, no!
Yeah. That's so Batman. And just the way they cut it, too, is a Batman type thing.
That was great for me. Shout out to the director for that. Rick Famuyiwa. Famuyue. Yeah. It's typed down here if you're watching the video. He probably can't say my last name, so that's fine. I love that one. That one to me, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'll shut up. That was my one complaint with the show, and then I was like, all right, I've got nothing to say.
So you're right. So when we go past that episode, we get to 7 and 8, where it's starting to feel more of like a less episodic and more like to the main theme of the show.
Yeah, this one's like these two episodes, like you had to binge. I don't think they were released back to back.
No.
So I think you were just like, oh man, like Nick,
they were together though.
Wait.
Yeah.
Like, so when I showed these to my family, they were like, well, we have to watch both of them now. Or was it Tay? I think even Tay, who says she doesn't like the show. I think like the night we watched,
she needed to see him.
She was like, well, we might as well watch 8
if we have to. I mean, yeah. So this one
was good, and this one, the 7th one, was directed by Deborah So, and I really liked it, and it was a cool one, too, because Carl Weathers gets in contact with Mando again.
Mm-hmm.
Says, "Hey, come back, everything's fine. Just we'll work it out. Come here, and there's only like 2 stormtroopers. Come on back." And
Yeah.
So Mando's like, all right, clearly a trap. Let me go round up these people I've met on my season adventure here. He goes and gets Cara Dune, who's like in this cool like tether line match of just like fighting.
Yeah.
Which was
and you
cool.
can tap out, I think.
You can tap out.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
It's Quill.
We learned he was indentured servitude.
Yeah, he was in indentured servitude for the Empire.
Yeah.
It's so much on Quill, and like you love him so much. You know what I mean?
Oh my God! But he took IG-11, who was originally like ordered to
kill the baby.
Kill the baby. By the way, all the self-destruct scenes in episode 1 where he's like self-destruct initiate, and Mando's like, no. Like,
those were all funny, but they didn't feel like
funny,
forced, weird humor. You know?
Right. So anyway, he's rewired him to protect the child now.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, they kind of team up. Now we got our team.
How cool was that scene though? That like they took the time to just show like that the droid like relearning things too.
Yes.
Like that to me was just like, I still don't understand exactly, because I can tell they're trying to put a message out there, and I wonder if they're just telling us like we're not like who we used to be. Like if we want to change, we can, or we just have to work on it. But like I was like, this is like so cool that they left this in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
like,
it's a lot for Mando to
like
trust
drops it on that one lizard, like box when he's like first learning.
It's funny. It was a cool scene. It's a cool sequence.
Yeah.
And then and so now they have their team and they're gonna go.
So they meet up like outside of town, and he's got some of his own mercenaries there. Mando's got some of his. They decide to head into town. Then they're all gonna be buddy.
And they're camping out. Right. And a pterodactyl attack happens.
Pterodactyl attack, man. This to me like kind of felt like a horror movie-ish almost.
I know. It was like scary.
I wasn't
for a second.
Like terrified, but like it felt like one. Like it's just dark.
Lion King felt like a horror movie to you. So
it was live action, Colby.
It was live action.
It was live action. There were real lions talking.
But and Kreeve gets hurt. And the child heals him, force heals him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a thread that was kind of introduced in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, well, it was like what, like a week or two maybe later. Maybe even that week when we saw, because I think Rise of Skywalker like came out like the week Mando was supposed to come out on one day, but they moved Mando earlier because Rise of Skywalker's coming out, and like then we see the Force healer. I was like, was this all planned? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of crazy. Like to introduce, like, oh look, there's Force heal. Like, so don't be surprised if Rey can do it now too, okay?
Yeah. Well, that changed his perception of what he was going to do. He was actually going to betray Mando in the team, and he's like, well, after seeing that, like, I need to help you now, you know.
And he was quick. He was quick on the draw when he killed his own dudes too. Like, Mando and Cara weren't ready. Like, he could have killed them.
Totally could have.
He just,
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Carl Weathers, man. Two in that gallery thing. Carl Weathers. Man, I love him even more now because like he's so like smart and into his character and
I love
about
that
story and stuff. And I was just like, this is awesome.
I love
he doesn't even have to act anymore. He probably makes like $1 million from like Rocky every day. You know,
I know.
Like every day, he's probably just like, I can just do whatever now. You know?
Yeah, it's cool. Hey, I would want if I had that, I would just be like, hey, can I be in Star Wars stuff?
Yeah. Apparently, too, they were gonna put him in like alien prosthetics. And then they even plan on like killing him off in that third episode when Mando shoots him off the ship. So I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't.
He's in season 2 here.
They go in and they meet again with Werner Herzog again. And that's where they talk about the infrastructure and stuff we talked about earlier. And Moff shows up and just blows the place up. And we see the end of this episode, 2 stormtroopers on speeder bikes just snatch up the child.
Baby. And they kill Quill.
Oh
my God, dude. I thought he was definitely gonna get away. I thought he was definitely
That's
gonna
so
get away.
sad.
I thought the droid was gonna come out
character
and just save him, is what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just bam bam.
That was super sad. But no. The droid though is gonna go help Baby Yoda in the next episode.
So they're like pinned down in that cantina.
Yeah.
You know, with them, and they can't get out, and it was really cool too seeing him. He's a real intense guy.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah,
Moff
yeah.
Gideon. Yeah. So
Moff,
I mean,
Moff Gideon. Woo, Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon. I don't know why you do that. Anyway, so he's Gus Fring. He's in The Boys.
Yeah.
He's always playing like the big bad guy. He's always playing like the head of the bad guys. And so again, he's that character, and he's tough,
very articulate, and
methodical.
he
kind of talks to Kara about like
classic Empire feel to him.
How he was involved in the Day of 1,000 Tears.
Yeah.
Oh man, so cool.
And we finally get Mando's full backstory with the Clone Wars then, and it's like it's not a race, it's a creed. And
exactly.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then we have like the best freaking like fight too, when IG comes in like town and like wrecks the speeder bike, blows it up. Mando comes out, just like Spartan kicks a dude, shoots a guy to the side, and then he's like
picks up this
fighting those giants with like the black stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Those were, oh my god! I wanted to see them fight hand to hand, and I'm glad I did, because they were taking him down too, and he would like fight, and like they weren't easy kills. Like,
no,
you had to work for those ones. And,
it was amazing, dude.
And he just picks up that like turret machine gun. Like, he loves turret machine guns,
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Oh, but before that too, we have to talk about the very beginning, when like the two stormtroopers after they pick up Baby Yoda, they're just waiting, and like you hear them like, oh, Moff shot another dude.
Yeah,
like,
so you hear,
and he's like, oh, he killed another guy. Okay, let's wait for
how bad Moff how bad this Moff Gideon dude is.
Yeah, and they like punched Baby Yoda.
They're
like,
punching him in the bag. They're just like, oh.
And they just like, and like there's that,
became the most hated men in the universe.
Yeah,
because of that.
After that, you're like, all right, they're gonna die. They're obviously gonna die. And then there's like a can that they like. They don't even say anything. Like, they just like start like trying to shoot at it,
kill some time, and shoot the can, and they just can't hit it.
It's like not that far away from them. And at one point, like they like shake the gun, like, huh.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
They don't say anything. They're just like, oh, maybe it's a gun.
It's hilarious. This is the first time in a Star Wars thing they just totally upfront in the show make fun of the fact that stormtroopers can't hit their target. Mm-hmm. And it's great. It's great. Yeah. So that was a pretty funny scene.
They didn't go too like Thor Ragnarok with it though. Like, they didn't go too on the, like, it still felt real. Yeah. And like, it still felt like it took itself serious. It's just like, here's a funny moment. You know?
Exactly. So it's a funny moment, and then they do get killed by IG-11.
He comes in, wrecks
the place, and we learn after all this, and we're hearing the backstory. We learn the Mandalorian's true name is Din Djarin.
Yeah, Din Djarin.
And I wonder, cool Star Wars name.
Yeah, why does he hide his name? Is what I want to know. Like,
why
does he go by Mando? Like, he's a Mandalorian.
He's just a secretive dude.
Like, it's like if I went by Hume, short for like human, or like Fizz, short for physical therapist, Hey, Fizz, instead of Steve.
Yeah. So we also learn Kara's from Alderaan.
Yeah.
She was born on Alderaan, so that's
blown up.
She's got a big
grudge against the Empire
in the rebellion. Yeah, a big grudge against the Empire. And then we just get that escape scene where they basically need IG-11 to use a self-destruct function. Mm-hmm. And it's like pretty emotional, actually. It's like, dang, like I'm getting emotional over a droid here.
Yeah, it was emotional. This was a pretty emotional episode. I thought it was probably the most emotional one,
because like,
I also thought that Mando was going to die. I was like, oh damn! Like, are they going to kill him this episode? And like because they're going to take him to the Mandalorians, and they'll be the Mandalorian for next season, or maybe Cara will be a man, because she's like they're not a race. So I was like, is she going to be a Mandalorian next season? So I was really glad.
By the way, that's another theory that he's not the Mandalorian. People think he might not be the Mandalorian for the show's title.
Oh,
I hope not. I like him. I want him to be the
too.
Mandalorian.
I hope he's the Mandalorian.
But yeah, dude. They go out to like this trench river, and like they're just Moff Gideon's dudes are just ready for him, squaring up, and they use a self-destruct function on this droid, and it helps him. And also
do the magic hand thingy.
And do the magic hand thingy.
That was great. That was funny. And again, it didn't feel like forced. And I love too that he's like in the ship, like shooting at them, and he like Mando had another great line where they're like, what are we gonna do? I'm out of ideas, or something like that. Mando's like, I'm not. And just jetpacks up and like grapples on and
throws some pretty strategically placed explosives on.
Oh man, was that sweet!
It was so cool.
Like I got to see so many things I wanted to see.
Yeah,
Star Wars in this show.
It was perfect.
And and then so they kill him there, or they don't kill him, they wreck his ship.
Yeah.
And then we get to see too Mando flying off with Baby Yoda, just like how it like you saw him as a kid on the shoulder of that Death Watch guy, and now his mission is to get him to the Jedi, and that's probably what's going to be part of season 2 here.
Yeah.
And man,
it was so good. I mean, the whole show. I'm so excited for season 2 to come out and see where the story goes, see more cute Baby Yoda moments, see like what he's capable of. Because we didn't talk about this, but I think in episode 7, when just Mando and Cara are arm wrestling on the ship, he starts force choking. We've only seen like Sith do that in the past. We've only seen dark Force users use that in the past. And so that makes me very skeptical of where does this 50-year-old baby come from? Where did he learn how to force choke? Maybe that's just like an instinctual thing for Force users when they're angry as kids. Maybe that's normal. I'm not a pediatric Jedi.
Not a pediatric.
I'm not a Jedi
master.
Pediatrician. Okay, but that was pretty eye-opening.
That's definitely gonna be a thread.
It should be a thread. It's like, is this child, like the child, we think he's cute, but is he dangerous? Could he be a bad thing? I think we all think he's like going to be this good hero someday, and that they just want to get him in the right hands. But like, he was trying to protect Mando because Mando's like his dad.
Yeah.
So there's that. But it was interesting. The force choke. Ooh.
Yeah.
Did not expect that.
And then too, we get to see Moff Gideon come out of his TIE fighter at the end with the dark saber, which we've only seen in the Clone Wars again.
From Mandalore.
Yeah.
The first Mandalorian Jedi.
Yeah, they
the dark saber.
The dark saber. It was like the Mandalore weapon.
Oh my god!
And like I saw too in that gallery thing, it was like a real. It wasn't like a real.
It was a real dark saber.
But it was a real physical thing. Like it was like lighting up and everything. Like he was holding it.
Oh, that's amazing! It looks so cool. It looks so cool.
Like it looked real. Like I was just like, that looks almost like what we got in the show.
Again, we talked about it before. I love how like the Mandalorians are sort of like this tribal people, and like we've compared them to like Vikings in the past.
Yeah, they're like Viking samurai people.
To have that sword that looks more like a real sword, but it's still like a lightsaber, sort of. It's so cool. It's so cool. So how does Moff Gideon have this thing? We need that explained. We need to know.
Because it was with, I think, Darth Maul last, right?
Oh yeah.
So how did that get to him?
Again, Darth Maul is like still somehow in the picture because he was in the Han Solo movie.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, thanks guys for listening. We're gonna be talking season 2, so we're gonna have a lot more Mandalorian stuff coming at you. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on podcast, make sure you sign up for the automatic downloads so you don't miss an episode. Make sure too, if you're on the YouTube, you can subscribe, ring the bell. Just have your notifications on silence. You're not getting buzzed at work or at home, and you're missing out on human interactions, And follow us on the social media. We got our links down in the description of the video or the podcast, and it's right here up on the screen too. Yeah. So, thanks for listening, everybody. Leave a like too. Leave us a like if you're on the YouTube, because that helps out the old algorithm, the evil algorithm.
Yeah. Otherwise, we appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next time.
This is the way.
This is the way.